Hi, my name is Vicky Carter, and my mum had a stroke when I was 4. Because of this, she's paralysed on the right-hand side of her body. She walks with a stick and rides a mobility scooter to get around. Growing up with a mum who is disabled meant that I had to continuously explain what she can and can't do to classmates, friends, and boyfriends. It meant fiercely defending disabled people and their rights in places I wouldn't expect to. And it meant growing up fast. 1 in 6 people in the UK will have a stroke in their lifetime, and 1 in 3 of those individuals have aphasia, according to the Stroke Association. Director of Service for Dyscover, Rosemary Townsend tells me what aphasia is.
It's an acquired problem. It's a problem that you don't grow up with. It's not something you're born with. It's a problem that's caused by damage to the language processing part of the brain. And the most common cause of that damage is stroke. So most people who have aphasia have had a stroke, and that's caused the damage. One of the extra confusing difficulties with describing aphasia to people is it looks very different in different people. Someone with aphasia may have profound difficulty in finding words. They may have real problems in actually producing any speech at all. They may have difficulty understanding language as well. And that goes for spoken language, so what they're hearing in conversation, and also with written language, so what they're reading in a newspaper on a computer screen. But also at the other end of the scale, aphasia can be very mild. And I've noticed over in my career that as stroke care has improved, people are getting better care at the early stages. We're seeing more people who have a really mild aphasia. But that's not to say it's not significant. In fact, a lot of people with mild aphasia kind of go under the radar of speech and language therapy, and they often emerge, they try to resume life in family and work, and they can't quite work out why they're struggling so much.
She tells me how difficult it is for those who have it to confidently communicate their needs and how this affects their day-to-day life.
Aphasia is a uniquely isolating condition. Anything which actually affects your ability to communicate and have conversations. I always say conversation is the glue of relationships. And when conversation is compromised by aphasia, that really does impact people's friendships and family relationships very profoundly. And it affects our self-esteem, because when you go into any situation, whether it's work or social, people make a judgment on you based on perhaps what you look like. I'm sure that's an element of it, but also how you sound, how you present yourself. And if you're unable to present yourself in an articulate way, or in a way that's kind of true to you, then immediately you're at a disadvantage, because people don't understand a lot about aphasia. Bringing people together with others who have that same condition or something similar, or maybe relatives who are living with that condition, immediately gives a sense of togetherness, and that they're not alone. I always feel whatever situation you're in life, you need to find your tribe in whatever way it is. And even if it doesn't reduce or eliminate the problem you're facing, it gives you a sense of being in it with someone else, and that's so powerful.
My mum has aphasia.
Chris Carter, speak. I'm sorry, it's fine.
No, just take your time.
I can't speak.
How old are you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
70.
No, that's not wrong.
Close to 70.
No. 50.
50. Right, well, that's a blatant lie, but sure. And how old were you when you had your stroke?
A long time. 1, 2 years, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
26 years ago.
Yes.
Do you remember the moment of having the stroke?
Ambulance. Then nothing really.
She's been attending Dyscover for years.
Dyscover is quite a unique organisation, actually. It's an organisation, it's a charity. It's been registered as a charity for 25 years, and it was set up by Jill Jackson, speech and language therapist. She provided that sort of sense of community, and I think crucially, she introduced people to others who were living with aphasia. And that gives people a huge sense of belonging and security. I think that's really important. That kind of group is invaluable for people to be heard, actually. You know, if you've got aphasia, you're often not heard, or even, you know, fairly trivial things that have happened in your week. You want to tell people about it and share your life. So that's what we aim to do.
Stroke is one of the health conditions included in the clinical vulnerable groups, so many individuals have been shielding throughout this time. In light of the pandemic, Dyscover have moved their sessions entirely online.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
They're all coming.
Hi, Chrissy.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Nick.
Everyone's in. Such a good turnout on such a grey day.
When we had to close everything in March, our immediate thought was for the membership, the existing membership, how are we going to keep in touch with these people? I don't think at any point we considered putting Dyscover on hold or stopping our services. We needed to find a way that would work for us to keep in touch with this community and to maintain that feeling of support. We started on this sort of mission to establish Dyscover at home, and it has exceeded all expectations. We now have the vast majority of people connecting on Zoom each week.
Lockdown has been an incredibly difficult time for all of us, but for stroke survivors with communication problems like aphasia, being able to connect with the community even virtually is incredibly beneficial for people to get the emotional and psychological support they need. Research shows that isolation and loneliness can be as damaging to health as smoking or obesity. Paul is also another participant of Dyscover. He tells me how his stroke developed from a supposed sneeze.
I'm 48. I had my stroke about 3 years ago. It was actually in January of 1st of January 17. Yeah. But and now and I was still there. I'm still police officer. Yeah, well, detective. I'm still there for a little bit. I think all the doctors and the consultants say it maybe you has a sneeze, and that's it. So I chew like that or something like that. Oh, hang on, what's that? What's that? Oh my God, what's that? Got that? That's it. And I don't really know what happens. I was like a comatose for two or 3 days. My brain swelled, and that's causes quite concerned. My swelling, I kept on swelling, and I think after that she should be dead, but luckily it's shrinked, and that was good. So good. I am lucky. I'm very, very, very lucky. It's hard because now I'm all right, roughly. But after I was stroke, then we had 2 years of work because we needed rehabilitation. We needed it. It's I've got this limp leg as well, and my speech, because let's say for the 2 months I tried to tell you something, but no one was understanding me. No one could understand me because I tried to say to the doctor, I can't see I can't see. but I can, because from their point of view, I don't really know what he's talking about. So it is a bit hard for family and friends. I didn't know what I was having a stroke. I didn't know what it was. Whoa, this is strange from my point of view. I've had a stroke and I have effects with communications, aphasia. But before I have a stroke, I'd never heard of aphasia, never heard of it. And the stroke, I feel sad to say, but I never really heard about stroke. After a while, a few months, I see improvement, and that's saved me.
Paul says it's down to Dyscover for his significant improvement with his speech and his confidence too.
I have made my improvements. This is for 3 years. Improvement, and I can even see that in myself. I can see that. This is why I'm very, very, very grateful for having the Dyscover charity, because I grab it. Do you know what I mean? I grab it. All of us, I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful, because Zoom or it's the video chats, and it's much better as a me, because I can see you. This is hard, and it is hard from some people's point of view, but we are disabled. We are. Aphasia, there should be loads of them, these charities, but there isn't. Cancer, fair enough. Heart attacks, fair enough. But then after that is strokes. You know, there's lots and lots of me, aphasia. There's loads of us. There's loads of us. It's hard. It's lonely. Not for me, because I'm right. What about the old people or the young people? Do you know what I mean? Who do you talk to? I can't. Who do you chat with? Everyone? No, I can't. I have to be busy, because in the text you can see in there that depression affects for 80% depression, and I thought, oh Jesus Christ.
He calls for more charities like Dyscover to be put in place, so more people like him with aphasia can feel connected, both now in this isolating time and in the future. I also spoke to Bryan, another participant from Dyscover, who's had 5 strokes because of a medical condition.
Started in 2007, all the way up to my last stroke was 2015, and 2 in 1 year, that's 2007, 1 in 2011, 1 in 2013, which left me paralyzed and with suffering with aphasia, and 2015. With the certain tweaking of my blood pressure medicine, I think I'm over the strokes finally.
He tells me about how his aphasia affects him and what challenges he faces.
The first 2 times are 6 months apart, and I recovered 100% from both of those. And I was only affected in my eyesight. I took it as, I'd been here before and everything worked out right. So, rest, and I'll wait 12 weeks and then it might, I'll come back, that in 2013 I had this massive stroke, and where I ended up paralyzed and suffering with aphasia. So it meant that I couldn't not talk a word for at least 3 months, and gradually, word by word, my speech became what it is now. You know, my aphasia is literally with the fluency of words, and I also suffer from not being able to read. I can read short excerpts of a sentence, but I have trouble in scanning the words. So I find writing is also a problem, because I use a keyboard on when I'm sending emails, and no matter how I try, I have difficulty in finding each and every letter. So it would take me about 10 minutes to compose and write a couple of sentences by way of computer or on my phone. And I know now that improvement is going to be minimal. You know, if anything, you know, makes me really angry at times when I can't be understood. And but you know, you have to learn to circumvent these occasions. I went through a period of depression when I had my stroke, which left me paralyzed. You cannot enjoy the independence as you really wish that you could.
Recognising that he may never have the independence he once had again, he tells me how crucial the charity Dyscover has been to aid his communication skills, and what it's like having speech and language sessions online for someone with aphasia. He also goes on to highlight, because of lockdown and the lack of social interaction with the outside world, his language skills have worsened. This is something I've noticed with my mum's speech too.
The amount of support you get with Dyscover, it can't be recommended highly enough. You know, through Dyscover, I have learned to slow down my speech and speak clearly. I still find that the use of vocabulary sometimes evades me, evades me, and I can't always get my true meanings across, and that is frustrating. We are all individuals, and we all have survived it in different phases or stages. I find it more difficult to speak on Zoom meetings, because when there are so many of you involved, it's easily you're able to talk across people. You realize that you can't notice all the subtle nuances of face to face. But that being said, in lockdown, I was aware that not speaking to people face to face was impacting so much more on my language. Despite the shortcomings of Zoom meetings, they are, they are to be recommended in the current climate.
I also spoke to Nicky, another participant of Dyscover, who tells me she had a stroke during the night when she was sleeping.
On the 29th of January, I had my stroke, which is now, I suppose it's about 18 months, yes, something about that time. And I had my stroke, unfortunately, in my sleep. I had a business before, so I used to work all my life. For about 30 years I had businesses, and I woke up normal, had dinner with 2 of my kids, and then after that woke up in the morning and I had a stroke. And then after that I was in hospital for 2 weeks. For 3 months my daughter cared for me. For 3 months she was at home with me and did everything from me. So my business, she had to do everything for me, because I couldn't even say numbers. I had to do things like even how to do my hair, the words, how to comb my hair, to do everything, you know. She explained to me, she must explain about things, silly things like a hairdryer. Now I know the name, hairdryer. And it was very difficult at the beginning. I just cried all the time because I couldn't say anything.
She tells me how her aphasia affects her day to day.
With films, I have a problem with American people. I think they're very fast, so it loses my speech for a few, for example, with a film, for a few words, and I know I understand the film, and then I lose it, and then it starts again. It's still this, and still now have this problem. I don't understand a lot of men, especially on the call. If they call me, I don't understand. But a woman, I can understand a woman. Still with obviously my writing, I can't with a book. I can't read a book. I hope that in time it will get better with these things, but certain things like this, I think I'm stuck. You know, I'm stuck. But we'll have to see. It's obviously when I had my stroke in my brain, as they say, the wire in your brain, I've lost some things, like this, certain things, isn't it? But at the beginning, if it's a newish person, and then as I didn't know about your stroke, you seem normal, but then after a while they start talking, I lose it, because people, when they start talking fast. One of my other big problems still is numbers. Even though, for example, it is 21, you know it's 21, and I know it's 21, but I will say to you it's 41. Okay, Vicky, it's number 41. Even you told me it's 21. Strange, isn't that? One of my brain broken things.
Because of Nicky's aphasia, having sessions on Zoom means that she finds it difficult to understand what other Dyscover participants are saying, with multiple voices and conversations going on, as well as the pitch and tone of male voices specifically. Zoom sessions are confusing for anyone to navigate, but for someone who has aphasia like Nicky, it's even more difficult.
When we do the Zoom, we discover, I think, some of the men, because men as well, they mumble a bit or quite a bit down like that and not clear enough, and then I'm not understanding. To be honest, I'm face to face to talking with somebody. It was better, because my problem, I suppose, I guess that with Zoom, with maybe too many people, maybe I lose it.
Rather than attending these sessions on Zoom, She's chosen instead to not participate in the online sessions, which can be further isolating in this time.
Everybody's different. I mean, I'm different now. I suppose I was quite a confident person, because obviously what's happened is quite different. I'm different in. I'm still kind of quite a confident person, but some people cannot bother. Before I lived by myself, but my apartment is now with my apartment's house and his house, because I didn't want to be lonely, I suppose. It's very frustrated. The whole thing is very frustrating. My whole life I had a lot of jobs, but no business. 2 businesses. I used to have, 3 children, 2 dogs, my house, me, 2 businesses. And then just from the day, that night, I lost it. I lost everything. But I just carry on how it is. It is what it is. Nothing else you can do, like lots of other people.
Since I started this documentary and originally interviewed Nicky, her decision has changed. Now she attends sessions on Zoom despite the challenges, as it provides social interaction and an opportunity to practice her speech.
I still have a lot of problems, obviously, and I only do Dyscover thing on Tuesday. I don't see anybody else or anything else, so it's obviously I can't, with my brain thing, it can't get any further, I don't think. As you said, I can't practice. Lucky I'm not completely by myself. I've got Andy. It must be very frustrating for him, I should think, when I'm trying to say something. So my talking to him is my speech thing, talk with him, but not anybody else, obviously. It's just nice on my Tuesday with my Dyscover, which is very nice, and the people very nice, seeing other faces and talking. Sometimes I'm not quite, I can't get it,
In an unprecedented time, this community having sessions online brings stroke survivors together.
So with Dyscover, you're able to have these online sessions?
Yes. Art, music, everything.
Different themes that you explore each time.
And I am great. I was always great.
How do you feel if you didn't have Dyscover with those online sessions?
Oh wow. Lovely, really.
Although it may prove difficult for some individuals with aphasia, having language therapy sessions online are a lifeline. Thank you to Paul, Bryan and Nicky for your time and your courage. You can listen to their full stories online. Thank you to Rosemary and all the team at Dyscover for the hard work you do day in and day out. Thank you to my mum for being so inspiring.